Hi guys, Firmbie with you, and welcome to Car Mechanic 2015. It's great to have your company. And actually welcome to 15 Minute Makeover. Those who are new to the channel, it's a series that it's been going for a little while now. It's a series, basically we grab a car out of Car Mechanic 2015 and see if we can repair it within 15 minutes. Now sometimes we're successful, sometimes not so much, but we'll have a crack at it anyway. As you can see, the garage is starting to fill up fairly quickly. We've got a number of repairs here. We've got a Bentley over here that needs a bit of love. Maserati, the Maserati Quattroporte, a lime green there. Not a big fan of the colour there, but it is what it is. But what we'll be working on today is this one here, the Bolt Reptilia. Let's have a look what we actually need with the Bolt. A magic number today, 58%. So any parts that we repair up, we only need to go to the 58% mark. So if you have those parts already in your inventory, say you've been over to the strippers for a little while and got some parts over there and you've repaired them up to the over 58%, well, you're able to use those parts there. Other than that, we'll need to purchase brand new parts. So engine power has failed, we won't be able to start it, of course. Brake problems are pretty straightforward. Gearbox problems. Repair and replace body parts and repaint stock colours. Okay, so let's start with the body, I think. We'll get that bonnet off and basically looking for any of these panels that are discoloured in any way. And rear bumper looks a bit shagged. And we'll get those over to our repair table. Again, remembering our 58% and see if we can't repair those up over that value. There we go. Obviously 63 is over 58, so let's get those parts back on. If I can remember to press the right button, that'd be awesome. Still that bonnet still looks a bit not too terrific, but that's the repair value that they want, so that's a repair that they get. If I can get this rear bumper back on, that'd be awesome. We should have a green light, and we do. Simple as that. Repair or replace body parts, and we repaired them. And that just shows the importance of actually, I spoke about this last episode, but it's just show the importance of actually getting this repair tool section upgraded as soon as you can. So it does increase the chance of repairing those parts up quite dramatically. So we'll just need to pop into here, see if that Bolt Reptilia needs to be, no, the body doesn't need to be fixed. Fantastic. Whoops. So we don't need to do anything here, anything there. The next easy thing is to pop it over in the paint shop and paint it factory colours. So just very quickly pop it over to the paint shop. The factory colours are there by default, and it's just a matter of clicking paint car. Do you want to paint the car for $500? Yes, we do. And even though that bonnet looks a little bit shabby, then that's the highest they wanted that repaired up to. So that's what they want, that's what they get. And another green light. Fantastic. So now we get into the ones that are a little bit harder. Engine power has failed, so we've got a few parts there. I wonder whether we can do a diagnostic on it. So let's go to examine mode and let's try the OBS scanner. No, the car does not have an OBS port, can't perform this action. Okay, good to know. Let's try the compression tester. I actually spoke about these examination tools in the last episode. Don't use them that often. Very rarely find a need for it. And that tells us that the piston's okay, the crankshaft's okay, engine block's okay. As I said, it's very rarely I'll use them, but I thought I'd just throw that up there just to see, just to show you them working. But 9 out of 10 times you can generally find the part that you're after anyway. So none of those parts are going to need any love at all. Obviously exceeds our 58% that we're looking for. The best thing here is actually just to dive in and get these parts off. Generally you can find them fairly quickly. As you can see, that intake manifold is one customer there. That carby also is looking a bit worse for wear. Carburetor 3%, yep, he's also knackered as well, so he's not going to be repaired up, and we'll just throw him out, I reckon, and buy a brand new one. So we've found a couple of those parts that we need for the engine. Let's dive a little bit further. Sometimes they're actually these the rockers, and just under this rocker cover here. So either the rockers or the push rods. All those rockers there look pretty good. Let's just fly over this other side and see what the rockers are like on this side. As I said, you know, sometimes they'll throw in a googly one and it'll be one of the rockers or one of the push rods that you need to take out. And obviously to get to the push rod you need to take the rocker out anyway. So yeah, those look pretty good too. Yeah, nothing stands out of the ordinary there. Alright, well let's push on. And well, we're still looking for some car parts, aren't we? Engine parts, beg your pardon. Timing, maybe? Let's delve a little bit further. The next section I'd be looking at is the timing belt, and we just need to get a lot of this snot off the front to access that timing belt, or even there's a cam gear in there too. We'll just get that off there. Crankshaft pulley comes off, and then the timing cover comes off like so. And hopefully, oh, you get out of the way, radio. That'd be a great help. See, I was actually thinking of this cam gear and the timing chain, but both those look pretty damn good, to be honest. 62. Yep, he's pretty good, so he can actually go back on. But we'll leave that. We'll come back to that in a moment. Maybe a fuel pump. But we'll get to some of these other things as we pop along. Brakes are fairly easy. Brake shoes, calipers, brake pads, that type of thing. That's what we're looking for in this particular scenario. So we'll just have a bit of a look-see around while we're here. There's nothing that stands out there. We'll come around to this the other front quarter here and get these off and get the remainder of the brake components off, just in case. Oh yeah, they're looking a bit ugly, aren't they? We'll get that caliper off, and that brake shoe's definitely shagged. The brake disc is going to need some love as well. Let's see what that brake disc comes up at. Of course, it's not going to now that I ask it to, of course. Down the back end, now I can actually see through that tyre there, and you see that brake drum is knackered as well, so he's going to need some love, as well as his brake shoes and drum cylinder. Now I'm wondering whether I can reach that fuel pump from here. We can. At 67, no, he's fine. Let's get that back in there. Now, as you can see, we've already got a fuel pump at 100%. Already in our inventory, but of course the one that's just come out at 67% exceeds our expected 58, so he can go straight back in, and we'll just hang on to that 100% fuel pump. Now you can use that on your next repair, of course, or hold it off for your restoration. You can use it whenever you like, really. The brake shoe can come off, as well as the drum wheel cylinder. Well, we've got to get that gearbox apart anyway, so we've found all the brake problems there, brake shoes, the ventilators, the drum wheel cylinders that we spoke about, calipers there. So we'll get the gearbox apart, and hopefully we can get some of these parts that we're still missing in regards to the engine power. And we should be able to reach a drive shaft from here, which we can. Obviously we just need to take that drive shaft out. 4 bolts on each end that connects the drive shaft to the rear axle and the gearbox, of course. We just need to take that drive shaft out before we get this gearbox. And once this gearbox is out, like so, we can get some of these nasty parts off the out of the clutch release plate. It's going to need some love. And look, I'll just pull out the flywheel as well at 62, so that flywheel is actually, he can go back in because he's going to be fine, but the other parts we'll need to look at. Okay, so we found the gearbox faults, the clutch plate and clutch pressure plate. Brake problems, we found all those, as I mentioned. Engine power has failed. Now, it wasn't actually the Fuel pump. We've got 3 other parts that we need to actually find. Now I'm actually digging in here, just wondering whether it's one of those clamps that hold the conrod. And I know I've spilled the oil, and I know it's cost me $100. What I'm actually looking for is these crankshaft bearing caps. Sometimes I'll sneak in one of those that'll just catch us out, and it'll take you a while to find. But I reckon there's an examination tool. There we go. That'll tell us the condition of it. And they're all at 66%, as you can see. So I just mouse over it, and as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen there, 66%. Nothing wrong with those. We can actually put the oil pan back on. We're not going to need that off for any reason at all. So we'll whack him back on while we're here, and we'll go looking back in the top for these remaining parts from the that's stopping us from repairing the engine. As you can see, I like to actually take all the parts out and then look at the repairs afterwards. I might actually dig into the carby and see whether there's any parts in this carby that are knackered. Distributor cap 4%, that'll do it. I think that'll be fine at 65. It is, so he can go back in. Now, how did we go with finding all those parts? Engine power. Okay, we did actually find those. It was the ignition wires, the distributor rotor, and the distributor cap. Okay, so that wasn't as hard as I first thought it might be. So we found all those parts, which is awesome. 58% is our magic number. So let's get over to our repair table and see if we can't repair most of that, or all of them, in fact, up to that 58%. Oh. Okay, so 61, awesome. So those parts that can be repaired have been repaired. Sort by condition, that's what we always do. Now those parts that can't be repaired need to be replaced. So let's just go by section by section here. The gearbox, clutch plate, and look, we've got a number of clutch plates already in our inventory from doing repairs from our strippers. So what I like to do, if I know I've got clutch plates or I've got that particular part in the inventory, is just sell the damn thing, get rid of it, sell the crap. If you don't need it, you get rid of it. Now in this particular instance, we're looking for a clutch pressure plate. Now as you can see in our inventory, we actually don't have one of those. So we need to go over to our tablet, body parts, gearbox, clutch pressure plate was the one we were after, I think, wasn't it? There was clutch pressure plate, yes. So there is, there's a brand new one, and now that we know that we've replaced that, I simply get that out of our inventory. Now the easiest way to do it is just hold down your shift key and left mouse click, and it's gone. Gearbox 62%, obviously exceeds our 58% that we were looking for. Nothing in the exhaust. Brakes is a big one. Drum wheel cylinder, let's just type in drum and see what we have. We actually got a couple of drum wheel cylinders in our inventory, so we don't need that. Drum brakes, brake drums. Oh, doing really well today there, Firmbie. Time for a sip of coffee, I think. Now I'm wondering whether the that one is from one side and that one's from the other, so I might pay to we'll go and buy a brake drum just to make sure that we have enough parts when we go to put them back in. So brake drum. Okay, we'll go this way. Brake drum. Thank you very much. Get rid of him. Calipers. Let's just learn how to spell first. That'd be awesome. Okay, brake calipers now. I know I've got quite a few of those in my inventory, so I might just get rid of that. Brake pads. I don't think I've got any brake pads in the inventory, so I'll need 2 of those. 2 of those, easy as that. Get rid of those. brake disc ventilated. Now I'm pretty sure we've got some ventilated. Of course, I could be wrong. Let's go and get some ventilators. 2 of those. Get rid of those out of the inventory. Not needed. And that pretty well concludes the brake section. Running gear. There's nothing in there. Engine wires. Now there's quite a few bits and bobs in the engine wires. Carburetors. I know I haven't got any 4-barrel carburetors, so we'll T for tablet. Carb for carburetor. 4-barrel carburetor. One of those. Out of that, ignition distributor caps. So we want ignition distributor cap and rotor. So we should be able to just write ignition, and it does. Ignition distributor rotor, and which cap? I think it was just ignition distributor cap from memory. It was. Don't need that or that. Ignition wires for a V8. I know we don't have spare one of those. Ignition wires for a V8. That critter there. Back over inventory. And the crankshaft pulley V8 OHV, he's sitting at 60%, and if you remember correctly, our required number is 58, so obviously exceeds our required number on that one. So that's all of those. I generally like to finish up by clicking on the all section, just making sure I haven't missed anything. And obviously our lowest number is 60%, which exceeds our required repair value of 58. So it's just a matter of getting those parts back in. We didn't end up getting anything up from the timing area, so we actually took this timing cover off for no particular reason at all. But as I was saying, sometimes they'll throw in a googly one and they'll end up being that either that timing chain or that cam gear that holds the timing chain on. So we'll just get these front components on like so, the serpentine belt and the other one there. The fan goes on fairly quickly over the top of that. And then we're able to get these engine head covers, engine head components on rather. Okay, if I get the angle of the dangle right. Ooh, shiny. Why they put so many bolts on these covers for is beyond me, but you know, it is what it is. Intake manifold. We didn't actually do anything to the intake manifold, did we? Actually, we repaired it up. That's right. The memory's fading already, but we did actually had to buy a brand new carburetor because it was completely shagged. So, brand new one of those. The air filter cover at the top of that. Let's get this other cover on while I think of it too. Now, look, don't let me forget either. We need to put some oil in it before we finish up too, because we dropped the oil pan, which means the oil would have dropped out when we took the oil pan off. What are we missing? Ignition cap. And look, while we're here, let's not, if I can reach it, let's not forget those clips there either, because they're very easy to forget. Clips on the distributor as well as clips on the air filter. One of those, well, you've probably seen me do it before, the square air filter that often sits over here on different models. They have little clips on them, 2 on each side, 4 in total obviously. Okay, engine power has failed. We've got green lights across the board, which is fantastic. On those brake problems, we need to whack on those brake components and the clutch components. So we'll get the old girl back up in the air, and the brake components are fairly simple. It's just a matter of replacing those parts back on the axles there. But let's get into this clutch. Whoops. We want the on bit, not the off bit. Awesome. Get these clutch components back on, and we still need to get the gearbox on, of course, and then a drive shaft on top of that. So there's the gearbox. Did I grab the right one? That's a very good question. Oh well, it's on there now. I think I've actually grabbed a brand new gearbox and put it over the top of it, but at least it does. It's going to exceed the 58% that we needed if it's brand new, and we'll just keep the old one. If in fact if that's what I do, I have to check the footage afterwards, to be honest. And I've actually done the same thing there, haven't I? I've grabbed the old one. Sorry, I've grabbed the brand new one. I just have to be careful of that because we have quite a number of brand new parts in their inventory, and as I was saying is that we should have a separate section for these brand new parts because it's very easy to grab the new parts instead of the old parts. And that's actually what I want in this particular one is grab the old parts because it does exceed our required repair value of 58%. So let's get those 8 bolts tightened up on that drive shaft, and then we're able to come over. Let's start down the back here just for giggles, and we'll get that drum wheel cylinder in there. As I said before, quite a few of those laying around our inventory from the trips over to the strippers and taking the parts off there and getting those repaired up. We'll get those 4 wheel nuts tightened up, and I think that was all we need on this quarter. It was, yes. We'll pop around the other side here and get those other brake components squared away. The drum cylinder, brake shoes, and the brake drum. And we'll get the wheel on top of that, like so. Look, if you do like your car mechanic content there, guys, is pop over to the channel, check out. We've got quite a lot of car mechanic content over on the channel there, both these 15-minute makeovers as well as the longer episodes of the full restorations of a wide range of different cars here in Car Mechanic. So if you like any of the videos you see, then just hit that like button, that'd be awesome. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the future content. I do Car Mechanic, I do World of Warships, Astroneer, doing a little bit of Astroneer with Big Shadow and Little Shadow. A shout out to those guys. Go and check those out. As I said, and got an Astroneer series going with those fellas as well. But yeah, no, I'd love to hear from you. What the jobs that you're doing in Car Mechanic, whether you got stuck or something that you're not quite sure of, or just a little bit of feedback on what you do in Car Mechanic. Let's get back to the job here. As you can see, green lights across the board on every single one. That's what we're looking for, so that we're able to get our full bonus for completing the job. As I was saying, 58% was our magic number, and we have exceeded that right across the board there. Total earned $4,085 for that particular job. Alright guys, now what did I say halfway through this repair, guys? Did I not ask you to remind me to put some oil in? That's something I always forget. Now, it's almost a damn trademark, isn't it? I did actually ask you to remind me before I end the episode, but obviously no one stuck their hand up and reminded me. So we'll whack the oil in fairly quickly. There's no need to measure it. It'll just start. There's no penalty for overfilling. As you can see that graphic there, as you can see, it's just coming at the top. There's no penalty for overfilling. Get that oil in there, and now we should be able to. It's still $4,085 to finish the job, so some good cash to start building up that account balance, and we're able to, once that account balance is built up, we're able to get back over to the auction and purchase some more cars. Alright guys, thank you very much for your company. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to it in the next one.